One evening, Chuks and Cliff were sitting in Chuks' room discussing their day. Cliff suddenly remembered an unusual incident. "You know," he said, "I picked up a female passenger yesterday. Her name was Tito." "What happened?" Cliff leaned back. "When I arrived, she was arguing with a man." "What kind of argument?" "The woman was complaining that her husband had neglected her and their 2 children." Chuks laughed. "And what did the man say?" "He shouted back that she knew the nature of his business. That his work always kept him away from home. Then he told her that if she wasn't happy, she could leave the marriage." The 2 friends laughed. Lagos never lacked drama. According to Cliff, the man eventually got into his own vehicle and drove away. Afterward, Cliff transported the woman to her destination. Their conversation was interrupted by Chuck's phone. The caller was Mercy. After exchanging greetings, Mercy spoke. "I'll need your services tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Chuck sighed. "Miss Mercy, I'm already booked throughout tomorrow." There was disappointment in her voice. "Oh. But I can send another driver from our company." Mercy hesitated. "Will he be reliable?" "Very reliable." Reluctantly, she agreed. After the call ended, Chuks looked at Cliff. "It is you I will send." Cliff stared at him. "You are still avoiding her?" "Yes." Cliff shook his head. "I don't understand you." Then he asked a question that had puzzled him for months. "Why does she always use fast car ride?" "What do you mean?" "She's rich. She could drive anywhere she wants." Chuks shrugged. "I don't know. Sometimes her boyfriend and his friends borrow her car." The next afternoon, Cliff arrived at Blue Tip Company to pick up Mercy. What happened next shocked him. As he waited outside, he noticed a familiar face. The same man he had seen arguing with Tito the previous day. The same man who supposedly had a wife and 2 children. The man stepped out of the building alongside Mercy. The 2 spoke briefly. Then, before leaving, the man kissed Mercy on the forehead. Cliff watched in stunned silence. Something wasn't right. Later that evening, he rushed to tell Chuks what he had seen. As Cliff described the man, Chuks immediately recognized him. Harry. Mercy's boyfriend. The room fell silent. Neither man spoke for several seconds. Could it be true? Was Harry secretly married? Did he actually have a wife and children? Cliff wanted to tell Mercy immediately. But Chuks refused. "No." "Why not?" "I don't want to be responsible for ending someone's relationship," Chuck said. Cliff disagreed. "At least call her." "For what?" "Ask whether she was satisfied with the service I rendered today." Reluctantly, Chuks agreed. He dialed Mercy's number. The call connected. Immediately, he realized something was wrong. Mercy was crying. His heart sank. What happened? Through tears, Mercy explained. Harry and several of his friends had borrowed her vehicle. They had gone out drinking. This evening, while returning from a nightclub, they were involved in a serious road accident involving a mother and her child. Instead of stopping, they attempted to flee. Witnesses pursued them. They were caught and arrested. Because it was Mercy's vehicle, the police had also summoned her for questioning. She was calling from the station. After the call ended, Chuks informed Cliff. Without hesitation, the 2 friends decided to visit the station. When they arrived, they found Mercy and her brother Bolu writing statements. Mercy repeated everything she had told Chuks. Harry and his friends had already been detained. As they stood discussing the situation, a worried woman, carrying a baby, entered the station. The moment Cliff saw her, recognition flashed across his face. It was Tito, the woman from the argument. Tito also recognized Cliff. The room suddenly felt smaller. The woman approached the officers. "My husband was arrested," she said nervously. "I saw the incident online." Everyone froze. Mercy looked up. Bolu looked up. Even Chuks felt his stomach tighten. "What is your husband's name?" Bolu asked. The woman answered. "Harry Toku." The silence that followed was deafening. "We have 2 children together." Mercy's face drained of color. "Can I see a picture?" The woman opened her phone gallery. She handed the device to Mercy. One glance was enough. It was Harry. The same Harry she had loved. The same Harry she had defended. The same Harry she had trusted. The truth exploded like a thunderclap. Harry had been living a double life all along. And at that moment, every lie finally came crashing down. The revelations at the police station changed everything. In a single evening, years of deception collapsed. The truth about Harry's double life had finally emerged. Mercy was devastated. Not only had the man she loved betrayed her, but he had also deceived another woman and fathered 2 children while maintaining an entirely separate relationship. The shock was overwhelming. For weeks afterward, Mercy struggled to process everything that had happened. But sometimes, the end of one chapter becomes the beginning of another. 6 weeks after the incident, Harry and several of his friends were standing before the court. The charges against them were serious. Driving under the influence of alcohol, felony hit and run, and offenses arising from the fatal road accident that had shocked the city. The evidence against them was substantial. Witness statements, video recordings, physical evidence. Everything pointed in the same direction. For once, money and influence could not shield them from accountability. Meanwhile, Mercy made a decision of her own. She ended every remaining connection with Harry. His phone calls went unanswered. His messages were ignored. There would be no reconciliation. No second chance. No return. That chapter of her life was over. As the weeks passed, another relationship quietly began to grow. This time, it was built on honesty rather than deception. Trust rather than manipulation. Respect rather than fear. Chuks and Mercy gradually became closer. The phone calls became more frequent. The conversations became longer. Simple greetings turned into meaningful discussions. Visits followed. Shared laughter followed. Before long, both of them realized what everyone else had already begun to notice. They genuinely cared about each other. One evening during a conversation, Mercy discovered something she had never known. Chuks was not simply a driver at fast car ride. He was a university graduate. A graduate of microbiology. Mercy was stunned. All this time, she had assumed driving was his chosen career. She had no idea he had spent years searching for opportunities while supporting himself through honest work. The revelation increased her admiration for him. Here was a man who refused to sit idle. A man who had chosen dignity over excuses. A man who never allowed pride to prevent him from earning an honest living. For months later, another opportunity appeared. By then, Mercy had spoken extensively with her father and brother about Chuks. Chief Jide Oni had been impressed by everything he heard. The honesty. The character. The work ethic. The courage. When an executive position became available within one of the family's companies, Mercy used her influence to recommend Chuks. After a series of meetings and evaluations, Chuks was appointed a director within one of Chief Oni's businesses. The news felt unreal. Just months earlier, he had been driving passengers across Lagos. Now he was helping oversee a major company. It was proof that opportunities often arrive from unexpected places. Despite his own success, Chuks did not forget his friend. He approached Cliff one day. "I want to help you secure a good position too." But Cliff laughed. "My brother, that is not my plan. What is your plan then? I want to relocate overseas. The dream had been in Cliff's heart for years. He wanted to start a new chapter abroad. And he was determined to pursue it. 6 months later, another joyous occasion arrived. Family and friends gathered. Music filled the air. The hall sparkled with celebration. At the center of it all stood Chuks and Mercy. The fast car driver and the business executive. The man who returned a lost parcel. The woman who never forgot his honesty. Together, they exchanged vows. Together, they promised to build a future. And together, they began a new life as husband and wife. The wedding became one of the happiest days either of them had ever experienced. But the blessings did not stop there. 3 months after the wedding, Chuks had accumulated enough resources to support Cliff's relocation plans. When he finally handed the assistance to his friend, Cliff could hardly believe it. The two men embraced. Years of friendship. Years of loyalty. Years of standing by each other through difficult times. Now both were moving toward brighter futures. Eventually, the long-awaited judgment arrived. The court delivered its verdict. Harry and the others were found guilty of the offenses brought against them. Justice had finally caught up with them. The sentence was severe. 45 years behind bars. And while Harry's chapter ended behind prison walls, a very different future was unfolding elsewhere. Years later, Chuks and Mercy would often look back on the strange chain of events that had brought them together. A forgotten parcel. A simple act of honesty. A chance encounter. A painful truth. A friendship that became love. A love that became family. Soon, their home was filled with the laughter of children. The same man who once worried about unemployment now had a successful career, a loving wife, and a family of his own. And Mercy, after years of heartbreak and disappointment, finally found the kind of partner she had always hoped for. A partner who valued character above wealth. A partner who chose integrity even when nobody was watching. Because in the end, it was never money that changed Chuck's life. It was honesty. The decision to do the right thing when nobody would have blamed him for doing otherwise. And sometimes, that single decision is all destiny needs. For Chuks and Mercy, it began with a forgotten parcel in the back seat of a car. And it ended with a lifetime of happiness.